Real estate has changed dramatically over the past 10 years. At one time, all real estate agents were working for the seller, either as agent or sub-agent, and the buyer could not be represented in a transaction even though the buyer-consumer believed that they were being represented. Federal legislation was the driving force that affected this profound change. Today, a buyer in the province of Ontario has the same privileges that have always been afforded to sellers and can hire a real estate agent to represent them and protect their best interests in the buying of real estate at no cost to the buyer. Now it is the law that all real estate agents must disclose to a buyer at the earliest opportunity the 3 different ways that the buyer can be represented in a real estate transaction. Do you want protection and client representation from your buyer agent? As a buyer who elects to have their agent represent them as a client, thereby protecting you, the agent owes you a fiduciary responsibility to represent your best interests by structuring the transaction to your advantage. At the very least, your buyer agent must provide you with information on properties for sale and sources of financing. They must provide you with information on prices of sold homes in any given area so that they can advise you on what to pay. They prepare and structure the offer to purchase to protect your best interests. They advise you on what to offer as a price on the home and advise you on the best terms that should be included in their offer. Your buyer agent, when representing you as client, owes you undivided loyalty, obedience, reasonable care and diligence, confidentiality, full disclosure, and accounting. The alternative from client representation is to choose customer service, whereby the agent represents the interests of the seller. The customer is a buyer that receives services from another party's representative. For example, the seller's representative, where the sales representative is representing the seller as agent or sub-agent in the transaction while providing customer service to the buyer. So here are the basics of customer service. We give you all the information you need, but you have to decide on your own what price and terms to pay for the home. We are working for the seller, and we must do what is best for the seller. Dual representation circumstances can arise where the sales representative represents the interests of both the seller and the buyer at the same time. A dual representative has a fiduciary responsibility to both the buyer and the seller and must act in the best interests of both parties. The duty of full disclosure is waived in dual representation, and the real estate agent must remain neutral to the parties involved. Here are some final thoughts on hiring a buyer agent to protect you in the home buying process. If you have not hired the sales representative showing you homes to protect you and your family during the buying process, they are not working for you. They are working for the seller. There is no cost to you when hiring a buyer agent.